Welcome back. Here we are in episode 4 of self care. Last time we talked about the different categories of self care. We talked about social, emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental, and the importance of having all those as part of our healthy self care routine to refill our pitcher. I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about another way that of thinking about self-care and categorizing it. One way is those 5 categories that we just talked about. Another is to think of it as relationship. So relationship to self, relationship to others, your relationship to your environment, to work and money, and to technology. So when we think about our relationship to ourselves, how are we taking care of ourselves? That might be those physical needs of, making sure that you're getting enough sleep, you're eating well, you're making sure you're going to the doctor, taking care of your dental health, making sure that your brain, you're exercising your brain by learning new things, you're doing things like meditation, that sort of thing, right? Your relationship to others, spending time as a family, making sure you have playtime set aside with you and your child, that you're building that relationship, that you're having date nights, so you're maintaining your relationship with your partner, that you're spending time with your friends, you're prioritizing that time as well. Your environment. So it could be your natural environment, like getting out into nature, going for a walk in the woods, making sure that you're doing something that's, outdoor time. As well as your environment at home. So making sure like you're decluttering your home or at work, that you're cleaning off your desk, those sorts of things that help people. Also work and money. So what is your relationship to work? Are you making sure that when you're at work, you're having time to prioritize the things that need to get done? Are you delegating tasks when it's appropriate? Are you making sure that you are able to say no when it's appropriate? Are you taking on too much? Is the work-life balance, what does that look like for you? Also money, are you doing things like creating a budget, having a savings account? What's your relationship to money? And then lastly, technology. So thinking about how do you use technology? Is it a support? Are you able to take a break from that? Get up from your desk at work and walk around, or if you're at home, get up and make sure that you're able to move your body a little bit, take some breaks, making sure that you are not necessarily checking your social media right before bed or right first thing in the morning and you get up. Making sure that you use technology to support you. There are a lot of apps out there to help you. There's things like for learning, Duolingo, to learn another language, that'll help that mental component. There are things like apps that can help track how much screen time you're actually spending each day, those sorts of things. So just thinking about that in terms of relationship, all right? And one of the other things I wanted to talk about that'll help us move forward into the next few things is the very similar aspects of self-care to stress care. So how are you dealing with your level of stress, right? And how are you supporting your child when they are stressed? Sometimes we don't always think about our children as experiencing stress, but they do, right? So that stress might have different signs. There are some things that you can look for, right, in yourself as well as in your child. So some of the most immediate sort of physical responses might be things like an increased heart rate, right? Your heart starts beating faster, your muscles get tense. There might be places in your body, like maybe your neck or your stomach gets upset. There are things that happen to your body that are physical signs of stress, right? And then there are things like mood. So maybe you're more irritable or you're less patient, you feel fatigued, exhausted, maybe even depressed, right? That's another sign of sometimes of dealing with stress. Maybe you're having a difficulty concentrating or thinking. Your sleep patterns are getting all messed up. Maybe you're staying up way too late and sleeping in. Notice that for your children as well, right? Are their sleep patterns getting thrown off? Maybe there are things like change in appetite. You're eating way more than you used to, or you're just not hungry. Also, things like avoidance behaviors. You might see an increase in those. Things like, for adults, it might be going out and smoking a lot more than you used to, or drinking alcohol to kind of avoid things, or getting absorbed in a TV show for hours and hours, that sort of binge watching, things that you might do to avoid how you're feeling, right? So just thinking about those stress indicators, right? And next time we'll talk a little bit more about stress and how it's not necessarily negative, right? Stress is a reaction of physical, emotional response to your environment, to a mental and emotional or physical demand on you. But it's, again, that long-term kind of stress. Sometimes people talk about toxic stress, where it becomes damaging to your body physically over time, to maintain all those hormones and chemicals that are happening in your body that are being released when you're under stress, that can be damaging if that goes on long term. But there are a lot of things that we can do to deal with our stress. Some of them are more immediate, like, oh, I'm starting to feel tense. I need to be aware of how my body is reacting. So, am I suddenly getting really tense in my neck? Am I suddenly starting to clench my jaw and it's giving me a headache, because I'm under stress? So what could I do? Well, I could do a relaxation activity real quick, like a tense and relax, where you tense all your muscles and then you relax them. You can do progressive relaxation, where you tense one part of your body and then relax it and then just go through your whole body. You can just take 3 deep breaths, right? Do that belly breathing, where you breathe and you fill up your stomach, sort of, well, it's your lungs, but you want to get the bottom of your lungs. We tend to be shallow breathers, where we're breathing just at the top of our lungs, so we're not getting enough of that oxygen diffusing through our body. So if we can make sure that we're taking those nice, deep, slow breaths where we're filling up down here, have your child put their hands on their tummy when they're doing this, okay? That helps them kind of visualize, okay, I'm filling up my tummy like a balloon. They're filling up and they're taking a nice deep breath, and then they're letting it out very slowly. That's something that you can do just immediately in that moment of stress, those sort of physical things. But then there are also those long-term habits that are almost identical to those self-care habits that we've been talking about, right? Making sure that you're getting enough exercise, that you're eating well, that you're getting enough sleep, that you're drinking water, all those things that are taking care of your body, your relationship to yourself, that you're making sure that you are having an emotional outlet, right? We talked about your relationship to other people, making sure that those are strong relationships. Playtime. It's so important for children to have playtime, but it's important for grown-ups too. So making sure that you're doing things that are fun, that are building relationship through play. Those are really wonderful things that you can do to deal with ongoing stress, because we know right now there's a lot of stress in our world, right? And our kids are feeling that just like we are feeling it. So making sure that you're being a good role model. How are you dealing with your stress? What are the healthy habits that you're building in to self-care and care for the others around you, right? So making sure that you are doing all those different things that we talked about last time, getting a nice balance of those. Figure out what works well for you, because it's not one size fits all. You're going to find out what works best for you, and then just making sure that you're including those and you're prioritizing them. Next time we'll talk about how do we fit that in? How do we prioritize taking care of ourselves, dealing with our stress, helping our children, and supporting them as they deal with it. All right? Thanks. See you soon.